It's time to collect another model again, a quarter mile at a time. Another lame joke, sorry. So I was watching George's miniature diecast cars. He's in my subscriptions, and he showed this vehicle, well, this model, but also a giant version as well. And I would have just dismissed this. You know, I know that this model existed. It's just another Fast and Furious car. But had I not seen George's video, I wouldn't have realized its casting is different from other, Dodge Chargers that Hot Wheels puts out. So that's why I ended up buying it. It's supposed to be a 1968 Dodge Charger, and I read an article on the making of these cars for the movie. This is for Fast and Furious 9. I guess it's just called F9. I forget what that code means on a keyboard. Refresh? Is F9 refresh on a keyboard? I don't remember. But it's supposed to be, they made 9 cars for the movie. 2 of them are actually real functional cars where there's a Hellcat engine. There's a V8 supercharged engine in the rear of this thing, and it's making around 800 horsepower. And then they used 6-speed transmissions or transaxles from a Lamborghini Gallardo in these 2 functional vehicles. The other 7 vehicles are just, they had fake prop motors in the back, and then, the engine was actually located in the front. And those are the ones that they probably crashed and beat on and all that stuff. Alright, so here's a picture of the engine in the rear of the vehicle. So it's a real functioning, movie prop. So, pretty interesting. Alright, so let's talk about the scale of this thing. Honestly, this might be totally wrong because if you're replacing the entire drivetrain into the rear, the wheelbase probably changed as well. But a 1968 Dodge Charger has a wheelbase of 3,000 millimeters. So let's see if it matches up. But bearing in mind that even if it doesn't match up, it's not to say that this thing is what scale this is. So no, this is why measuring axle to axle is really difficult. That thing's so inset. I'm gonna just go with this for now. 46.13. Well, it's close enough. I mean, it's 165 scale. So this wouldn't really look too out of place next to your other true 64 scale models. Alright, let's see what Hot Wheels did here for this movie car. So it's a really cool black finish. It's a matte finish. Very nice. Then we have some hood pins there. There's a fuel seal in the front because the engine's taking up the rear. So there's a fuel seal here, so that's the fuel filler. Yeah, just your standard plastic rib detail there on the front. A little black paint would be helpful there. Ooh, it's a little glossy. I guess that's packaging, friction there. It smoothed out the paint. And there's a bunch of contaminants here, unfortunately. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, the spokes don't count the same as the photograph. The photograph has 6 spokes, but at least they got the color close. These bronzish looking wheels. And the door handle and the key are protruding from the casting. So look at that interior. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen a 2-tone interior from Hot Wheels before. So the chrome is part of the belly pan. Nope, I'm wrong. This belly pan is a metal base. So there's 2 interior pieces going on. The chrome piece and then the interior. So you have the gray dashboard as well with a bunch of controls. The seat cushions have a lot of good detail, including seat belts or harnesses. The steering wheel is very lame though. That's your typical pizza pan steering wheel. At least the diameter isn't too bad. And the doors are gray, and then here you have a chromed engine, and then the gray carries over these roll bars. Alright, so I guess that's a Dodge engine there. So this gold stripe here is nicely done. Unfortunately there's a casting bump or something. But I like these really thin lines next to the gold lines, how they're done well. And it wraps around, even to the bottom. So that's good. More friction here with the packaging. So I'm now realizing I think they painted this car gloss black, and then they painted over it this matte finish, right? So it wasn't just painted matte black. So they painted it twice. So that's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, there's so much paint missing there. It's very unsightly to look at. I guess I can consider this one of the prop cars from the movie that they beat on. Alright, going to the back here, we have these taillights painted nicely, you know, and the silver trim as well, and the Dodge looks pretty good. The bumper is separate from the casting there, so it's probably the same plastic as that engine piece, so it's a really effective way for them to get a separate piece of plastic look, even though technically it's part of that piece there. Same with the front, yeah, so there's probably a chrome piece of plastic running the entire length of this body here on the inside. It works. We got some ridges there and grooves, whatever you want to call them. And then some bumps here, probably to hold this panel down. Alright. Yeah. I just don't know if I should maybe strip this paint off. But then I'll lose the gold stripe, and I really like that stripe. So I guess I'll have to leave it the way it is. There's also silver paint around the window trim, so that's a nice little touch as well. It's very heavy, and naturally, or it's going to roll like any Hot Wheels should. So I think this must be the first release of this vehicle. What colors do you think they're going to come out with later? Will they ever release this again? From my limited knowledge of Hot Wheels, with the premiums, they take forever for them to become mainlines. And then, well, I don't know. I can almost see like this being a matte finish gray, you know, or maybe even a dirty version. Although I haven't seen the movie, I have no clue what happens to this vehicle in the movie. Alright, well, let's see what happens. Alright, I designed and 3D printed these wheels here. They're not really exactly like the movie car. And the main reason is the spokes are too close to the outside. The real car seems to have some really deep rims, but I have to actually have material here to grab the Hot Wheels axle. And so in order to do that, I have to make the spokes as far out as possible. So that's one of the concessions I have to consider when I design my wheels here. Alright, let's take a look here at this photograph. You'll see, well, maybe it's hard to see in this side view, but they are deep dish wheels. And I also feel that the body of this movie car is totally custom. I don't, other than the grille and the doors, I think everything else is custom made, because look at the tail end here, how short it is. And then obviously with the integrated fender flares, you know, that's not a standard Charger. I also feel the color is a bit off. You know, the real car is running really dark bronze wheels, but I didn't feel like buying paint just for this model. These are bronze, just not as dark. Alright, so what else did I do? I had to drill it open because the wheels are so far into the fenders that I had to drill it apart in order to get the new wheels in. I didn't really need to tap it, but I decided to tap it so I could have these screws. Since it was opened, I decided to add a little color to the interior. I have no idea if this is realistic though. I just freestyled the colors, you know, with some paint markers and Sharpies and stuff like that. And same with the engine. I didn't look at reference photos. I just added color how I thought an engine would look. Alright. In fact, actually, these make no sense. That color makes no sense on those catalytic converters, but whatever. Okay, nor do the red cylinder heads. It looks like a Ferrari, but I just went with what paint I had. So that's it. Not much else. Black paint wash in the grill, and that is all there was to it. Alright, let's take a look at a couple of the Chargers here, because it's close enough to 164. I think it'll work. So this first one is by Greenlight. It's a 1970 Challenger RT. This next one is the 69 Daytona. You know what? I have 4 cars, so I gotta move these over. That one's so off, I'm gonna put it off to this furthest away. And then this next one is a 2019 SRT Hellcat, which I believe is the engine inside this movie car. Although, correct me if I'm wrong. So you can see the size. I think the Hot Wheels fits in with the other brands. Its overall length seems appropriate. And then because it has those integrated fender flares, I think the width even looks appropriate. So I think it works. I am a little curious. If this is supposed to have the same engine, I'm going to open this hood and see if it looks remotely like the engine that Hot Wheels put in there. Unfortunately, the hood barely opens on this thing. So, nope, that is not going to help us. Alright, let's let this guy spin on its own. And since this thing has like 800 horsepower, it deserves a spin on the dyno coaster. Well, I would have to say it's a pretty cool model that, well, a pretty cool toy that Hot Wheels put out here. If you like the Fast and Furious movies, which I kind of like them, you know, they kill time. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I'll get around to it. So it's worthwhile to pick this one up, I think. Just be mindful that the paint might have, you know, scratched off, just like mine. I think the packaging just rubbed off this matte finish. So it might not be 100% perfect, but if you just think in the movies, those cars get beat up, so this is a post-production movie car. Alright, well, until the next movie car comes in, I will see you around. Thank you.